Hello folks and welcome back to Eerie Storytime. Today our delve into the shadows takes us to Staten Island, New York. Every town has its boogeyman, but Staten Island's Cropsey is a legend that hits too close to home. What began as a scary story took a dark turn into true crime, leaving the community haunted. Where does the myth end and the nightmare begin? Let's dive right into this eerie urban legend. In the heart of New York City, shrouded in unsettling tales and urban legends, lies Staten Island. It is here that the chilling figure of Cropsey has haunted the imaginations of generations. Cropsey is more than just a story told to frighten children. He is a sinister boogeyman, a figure of dread whispered about in hushed tones. Cropsey is often depicted as a large and ominous figure. He lurks in the shadows of abandoned buildings and the overgrown areas of Staten Island. He is said to carry a hook or an axe, tools of terror for his gruesome deeds. His targets are always the most vulnerable children. The legend often paints Cropsey as an escaped mental patient, driven to madness and violence. This detail adds another layer of unease to the story. It is a story intertwined with real-life tragedies and unanswered questions that continue to haunt Staten Island. Looming large in the background of the Cropsey legend is the imposing presence of Willowbrook State School. This institution, built to house children with intellectual disabilities, became a symbol of neglect and abuse. Overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, and reports of physical and emotional abuse plagued Willowbrook for decades. Willowbrook's dark history played a crucial role in shaping the Cropsey legend. The image of an escaped mental patient, seeking revenge or lost in his own madness, resonated with the public's perception of the institution. The crumbling buildings and desolate grounds of Willowbrook, abandoned since the 1980s, became a breeding ground for fear and speculation. The stories of mistreatment and the haunting image of the abandoned facility fueled the belief that something sinister lurked within its walls. The institution became synonymous with the boogeyman himself, a place where reality and nightmare blurred. The 1970s and 1980s saw a string of disappearances on Staten Island that would forever link the legend of Cropsey with real-life horror. Children vanished without a trace, leaving behind heartbroken families and a community gripped by fear. Each disappearance fueled the flames of the Cropsey legend. Parents whispered warnings to their children, and the once familiar streets of Staten Island transformed into a landscape of fear. The arrest of Andre Rand in 1987 further cemented the connection between the legend and reality. Rand has since been called the Pied Piper of Staten Island, is a former Willowbrook employee with a history of mental illness. He was convicted in connection with the disappearance of two young girls and is currently serving 2 sentences of 25 years to life and is eligible for parole in 2037. While Rand's guilt in other cases remains debated, his association with Willowbrook and the missing children solidified the chilling narrative. The legend of Cropsey became a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk even in the most familiar places. The exact origins of the Cropsey legend are shrouded in a mist of time and folklore, much like the abandoned grounds of Willowbrook itself. Many believe the legend has roots in the real-life story of a man named Cropsey, a disfigured man who escaped the neighboring Seaview Hospital. This man, seeking revenge for a fire that he believed was started by children, is said to have terrorized Staten Island with a hook. Others trace the legend back even further, to the early days of European settlers on Staten Island. Tales of boogeymen and monsters are common in folklore around the world. Regardless of its precise origins, the legend of Cropsey has haunted Staten Island for decades. Over the years, countless individuals claim to have encountered Cropsey or witnessed strange occurrences that they attribute to the boogeyman. These eyewitness accounts, ranging from fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure to unexplained noises in the night, add to the legend's mystique. One often repeated story tells of a group of teenagers who, while exploring the abandoned grounds of Willowbrook, claim to have seen a large, hulking figure watching them from the shadows. Another popular tale describes a young boy who was playing in the woods near his home when he heard the distinct sound of metal dragging on the pavement, as if someone were approaching with a hook. He ran home terrified, convinced that he had narrowly escaped Cropsey's clutches. While these stories are difficult to verify, they highlight the power of the legend and its ability to manifest itself in the everyday lives of Staten Islanders. The enduring nature of the Cropsey legend speaks to our deeply ingrained fear of the unknown, and the comfort we find in attributing the unexplainable to something tangible, even if that something is a terrifying boogeyman. The legend of Cropsey has had a profound impact on the community of Staten Island. For decades, parents have used the story to keep their children in line. The mere mention of Cropsey's name is enough to evoke fear and obedience, particularly in areas surrounding the abandoned Willowbrook State School. Many avoid the wooded areas and abandoned buildings of Staten Island, especially after dark. The fear of encountering Cropsey, whether real or imagined, has led to a heightened sense of vigilance and a reluctance to venture out alone at night. The legacy of Willowbrook State School and its connection to the Cropsey legend continues to cast a long shadow over Staten Island. The story of Cropsey, though rooted in folklore, has become deeply intertwined with the history and psyche of Staten Island. The enduring fascination with the Cropsey legend extends far beyond the borders of Staten Island. The story has captured the imagination of filmmakers, writers, and artists, inspiring numerous documentaries, feature films, and works of fiction. The 2009 documentary Cropsey, directed by Joshua Zeman and Barbara Brancaccio, brought the legend to a wider audience. The film investigates the disappearances on Staten Island and the connection to Andre Rand, blurring the lines between documentary and horror. The documentary's success spawned a wave of interest in the Cropsey legend, leading to further exploration in popular culture. The legend has also been featured in fictional works, including television shows like Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, and horror films like Sinister and the Abandoned. Whether depicted as a hook-wielding boogeyman or a symbol of societal neglect, Cropsey continues to captivate and terrify audiences worldwide. That's a wrap on today's peek into the shadows around Staten Island's Cropsey urban legend. We've seen urban legends like this before, where someone connected to a mental institution terrorizes a town. Interesting though, in this case it seems the urban legend may have inspired the real-life true crimes committed by Andre Rand. That is indeed creepy. Thank you for joining me on today's return to the shadows lurking in our world. We've certainly uncovered some dark and eerie stories on this channel. Thank you for your continued views and support. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Until next time.